All right, good afternoon, cyber traders. Welcome on back here this January 11th, 111. That is, well, 24 afterwards. But great to see all of our students and members alike this Thursday afternoon. Great to see Gary joining us and all of us perhaps joining us otherwise. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure that everybody can hear me loud and clear. Hopefully clear. Hopefully not too loud. There we go. Kathleen, Jeff, Bill, all of our students and members alike just rejoining us right now. And, I'll tell you, hey, if you stepped away from your desk going into the late morning, early afternoon, or actually if you were also with Fausto and Jerry Allison from Traders Accounting, I know that we just finished up a nice doubleheader webinar just before, but, just kind of getting your way back into the market right now. Well, this LAES has made a great pop, right? Easy to say that with it on the screen. It's up nearly 78% right now, pushing up to make a new high. Now, though, with that said, this was a pretty simple trade in terms of, well, what happens if, right? What if? That's how we think of trade as traders. What if the stock breaks above this big level? So I actually got off a coaching call with one of our students, Larry, earlier today, and I said that to him pretty much, but you could say that on a bunch of trades and they may not work out. They may not make the push that you want it to make. So with that, though, it wasn't even 250 here. That's a really strong support level that became, a good bounce level later on here, but it was really 270. I think it was the price that I have it on my level 4 screen to the right of me. Bring that open right now. This yellow line, 271, big 80,000 share print got filled. It's on the bid on the buy side there. Selling pressure, we nickname it red. So it broke below it, it tanked, and then from there, that's where I was saying to Larry, I'm like, well, what happens if this can move back above that price later on and definitively hold it as support after? So it took a little while to get the gears turning as support, but it did. It ended up holding a higher low from here, this roughly 270 area, pushed up. At that point, it made for a good 25, 30 cent play up towards 310. And at that point, I said, take the money and run. Like the only thing that would be more tempting to look for a new entry on this trade would be if we have like a new iceberg order on the bid, that's literally what I said to you in the chat board. Now, again, you could wish that on any stock, and there may not be a big iceberg order on the bid that pops up. But, man, I wish that into existence, didn't I? It was about 125,000 shares that popped up on the buy side here at 288. It ended up thankfully holding a support right here, and then it led to the next leg up higher as we speak. So I took my money and ran. I'm not in this trade now. You can see it on the bottom right. But for the meantime, I'm going to add this back on our watch list easily as number 1. And let me just ask, is anyone in on this trade still? Kathleen or Brad, Brian, Manny, Phil maybe, who's been on a roll today as well. Anyone's in on this trade right now, let me know. I'm hoping to see for this to make a move up higher towards $3.90 to $4. We also had a resistance out there on the sell side. It doesn't show as well, but yeah, right here for about 49.50K. All right, so Kathleen and Gary. All right, cool. And folks, I ask out of curiosity. Anytime I ask, are you in? That doesn't mean for anyone that's not in to just hit the buy button, right? Just it's a matter of saying you should have been in from before if you had your eyes on this stock with us earlier today. But if you're coming back to your desk right now, well, that's the better play, honestly, more days than not, because just according to the cyber clock, your next best set of time here heading into the afternoon is from 3:30 really to 4 o'clock, or maybe from 3 to 4. So we'll check to see if there's any other movers out there, just going from top to bottom. I know that obviously the market dumped off earlier, had a slight bounce back just recently. The mining stocks we were focused on quite a bit. Man, really, I could just kind of tell from the top of the gainers list here. You got to fish through a bunch of low volume, a bunch of cheap. SWVL, this is just garbage right now looking at the chart. At least it was up big, $6 stock and whatnot, but there's probably going to be a lot that looks like this. I just got to do my due diligence here, cross my T's, dot my I's. And Gary out on that trade just before the LAES, taking some money and running. He just came into the room right now, just joined us recently. So, hey, if you just jumped in from before and you wanted to start off with a small cushion, that's the better play. Gary knows what to do there. OGI, this is a slow moving stock. This is as level 1 gets. I say that just because this stock is a familiar name. You've traded the stock before. It's been watching like the grass grow. So pass there for right now, even with it at the highs. Maybe I'll come back to it at the end. DCGO. How about this one? Actually, the stock from yesterday that was breaking all-time lows. It was actually shortable, easy to borrow on my platform. I even put it on our watch list with that in mind. .go. I don't know what the company does here, but obviously not looking too good long-term. Today, at least intraday, up 15%, trying to make that bounce right now. Listen, it reminds me a little bit like the Roma stock even. I mean, Roma is the IPO even from a couple of days back, but, crashed. And then yesterday we tried to run it up, and for what it's worth, it was a little tough there at the time. But DCGO, more historical activity, I reckon. But, big drop off. It's going to try and potentially fill a gap here, which I like a little bit more. So I'll add this here, DCGO on the way up. 350, I would assume to be your next resistance there. Ooh, Oscar's been on a really nice tear this morning, and even from yesterday, you could say there. But from this morning, we had called it out as soon as the market opened up. Great pop, and then from there, obviously building new support and running up higher. Just the fact that it's at the highs of the day, I appreciate that. So I'll add this on our list here. But I like the others more though so far. DCGO, LAES, that's definitely near the top. Oscar makes the cut. See if that becomes faster, more volatile of a stock in a good way. ESPR, kind of similar to the OGI trade there. I'm going to write this down for the side list here. ESPR and OGI. Come back to those at the end. All right, just to kind of wrap up the rest of the gainer side here, we are kind of dipping towards 5% anyway, but really any known names, any familiar stocks that we are a fan of here. Saba, I saw the warrants actually up big before Chuck, if he's tuning in. It's one of his bread and butter stocks. I am certain that Chuck will be trading the stock, at least heading into the close. I would encourage Chuck to do that because, hey, it's his bread and butter, right? But it's got a big spread. It's got thin volume on the book. So, for a $26 stock, I'm not as particular about it on. If this was a $5 stock, I'd probably say, all right, it's cheap, at least trade some shares of it. I'll come back to this if you want me to. But, for Chuck, I'm going to assume he's going to add that to his personal watch list. All right, so I doubt there's anything else looking good, though, on the gainer side otherwise. I mean, there we go. Just jinxed it. There we go. And that's a good jinx because I'll take more. XERS zeros, ended up making a nice little push up earlier. And it's actually looking pretty good. It's at the highs, tradable. So, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't speak so soon there about not being too many stocks left on the gainer side. This is an ETF. I know that. All right, so let's hop over to the losers list just in between. If there's anything else looking good on the way up, folks, just obviously let me know. Type it in the chat board. You got OGI on the way up. You got OPI on the way down. That's typically how it goes. Just, all these tongue twister tickers and stocks and all that. Actually, when you zoom in on this trade, it doesn't look so bad as far as like a potential drop lower, but I feel like there's just better efficiency to catch even. Riot, crypto stocks taking huge hits. So with that in mind, of course, Riot, Mara, both dropping right now pretty sharply. Perhaps a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event. All those ETFs became tradable beginning today, including the BlackRock ETF. That's IBIT here. Just for reference, I mean, this is the first time you'll hear it, but definitely not the last. And going forward, I just want to make known, we're not trading this ETF, guys. We're not trading IBIT. If you want to use it as a guide to follow the crypto stocks, potentially you could do it, but it's not a direct correlation even. Perhaps when this is making a sharper run up or down, then you could follow, those crypto plays a little bit easier. But, this is the first day in which this is trading. It's heavily anticipated. So, it's more of a show and tell type deal. We'll kind of look at it. No harm in looking at it. But there is zero need to be trading this. Even if you don't like Bitcoin and don't trade Bitcoin, well, we got stocks that are better than this. So, Mara, Coinbase, Riot, I mean, they're down right now. So, follow the trend there. I will add them to our watch list as a potential short to see if they could break off lower. And if they don't break lower, then hey, volatile enough to see a decent bounce there, perhaps. But yeah, I'll add Mara, Riot, just kind of minors there, grouping them all together likely. All right, so I think that's just about it, folks. If there's anything else looking good on the way up, on the way down, up, down, left, right, more than 5%, just type it in the chat board. Let me know here. Checking out my trusty Benzinga Pro. I like to show this to you from time to time just to show you what I'm looking at here on my other screen. But 2.7%, 2.3, this BNZI. All these stocks are like kind of small cap, crappy stocks. So really, there wasn't anything that stood out there, but just do a flyby. Yeah, that DCGO at least is actually on our list already. That one's looking pretty strong, perhaps ready to fill a gap over time soon. W key, little pop right now, up over 30%. And it's actually not on my gainers list there. So going from top to bottom, this is probably making its way from bottom to top. But I don't like the order book. No necessity to add this to our watch list really at this point. We have a few there that we do like. Oscar included. So we got 4, and then, hey, we got a few that we said we'd go back to. ESPR, not terrible. I mean, it's at the highs. It actually did fill a gap, but then, perhaps more to come on that. OGI, it's at the highs, so it's kind of hard to ignore that type of trade. And then lastly, the Sava. So in terms of price, I guess I will add the ESPR, and I guess I will add the OGI. Again, Chuck, sure going to kill it on Sava himself there, but otherwise I would suggest for everyone else to focus on this here list. Michael asking, did I mention Oscar? Yes, we went over Oscar a couple of times just before, and holding up at the highs, up over 15%. Looks pretty good, just it is slow. It is slow poke. So, I wouldn't be looking to try and make a decent chunk on this one compared to LAES or DCGO or even the others are pretty slow there too. Maybe ESPR has a chance of breaking out pretty nicely over time, but hopefully Oscar can keep going. I'm going to put it on our list for that reason. It's strong. It's holding at the highs, but a little bit of a slow poke there recently. The Spectre, this thing is garbage. I got a chat here on YouTube right now. Just want to make mention, listen, for these stocks that we call out earlier today, if they are not at the highs, if they're not at the lows as far as a short, I don't think that we could short this thing right now. It is looking to fill a gap there perhaps, but this is nowhere near in our radar at this point. It was the flavor of earlier this week. It was surprisingly the flavor of pre-market this morning, but then that thing dropped off and then we have moved on. So this thing is in the trash. But folks, hey, for Michael, Gary, Manny, Brian, Kath, and all of us just joining us right now, I'll be on the mic just beginning in about 3 o'clock Eastern time in about 15, 20 minutes from right now. And I'll take you heading into the close. Start and stick with this watch list as always. We got a few decent ones on there now at this point. So, I'll be back on and see if there's anything else out there that we can try and catch. All right, folks, I'll talk to you all soon.